Yep. Okay. So, hello everyone. I'm indeed Luca Ferranti, and I will talk about this project which I started a while ago and now kind of wrapped up about building a chapel curriculum on exercism. And if you don't know what exercism is, don't worry, we'll get there in a second. Oh, and okay. So very quickly, who am I? I'm a software developer, but I'm mainly interested in scientific computing, computer algebra, automatic reasoning, that kind of stuff. I like to say that I'm floating at the intersection between mathematics and computer science. As I was hinting to Brad before, I have long experience in being close to finishing my PhD. I'm experienced close to finish the PhD student. But that's the boring stuff. The interesting stuff is that I came across Chapel a few years ago and I thought it was very cool language. And since then, I've kind of spent my free time finding places in the internet that don't support Chapel and try to lobby for that and add the Chapel support for it. Yeah, and also I stream sometimes on coding math on Twitch, and I do beginner-friendly streams about Chapel, live coding about Chapel. So sometimes tutorials, sometimes more just open the camera and work on my open source projects and showing how I get stuck and how debug and solve. So join if you wanna see me having problems. It's pretty fun. Yep. But I'm going to give now a pretty long background overview before we get into exercism, or what is the problem I'm trying to solve, why I'm doing this, but hopefully it will be worth it. And this actually reconnects very nicely to the talk that we had from Paul before. So when we think about Chapel, we have this good scenario that everyone knows, everyone likes, it's written on the website, that engineers, scientists learn sequential programming, basic programming in their studies. Okay, good. Then when they start working with big data or have very heavy simulations, they realize they need supercomputers running on clusters, so anyway, parallel programming, and they realize there's not a magic wand or a silver bullet that transforms your sequential code into parallel code. And so they start struggling with MPI, OpenMP, and so on and so on. And here comes Chapel, which makes parallel programming easy and fun, and makes this transition from sequential to parallel easier and more enjoyable. So that's the good thing, the good selling speech that we all know. However, there's an assumption here that is not necessarily true. So can we actually assume that all people who need HPC can actually program? If we think about what happened in the last decades, programming and computing, simulations, AI, all this sort of stuff has become popular in all sorts of fields. So now we have people in humanities that need to program. We have people in biology who need to program. We have historians, archaeologists who need to program, who need to code. And not only don't they know any parallel programming, they don't know any programming in general. And this leads to this big challenge in HPC education, that people need to first learn programming, and only after that they can start learning HPC. And this leads the question, could Chapel actually kill two birds in one stone? So instead of thinking Chapel as making parallel programming easy, why couldn't it just make all programming easy? And my thesis, so to speak, is that personally I see no reason why Chapel couldn't be someone's first language. So I see no reason why Chapel couldn't be used for teaching programming, basic programming. So people who don't know what an if is or what a loop is. And well, the obvious advantages of this would be that would allow for better integration of parallel programming concepts into different curricula. We heard from Paul before that when people get to parallel programming classes, they have already been brainwashed with sequential programming in their mind, and they struggle to switch the mental model. Whereas having Chapel being parallel first, learning programming, you would get already from the beginning these parallel concepts. And this could also help with the problem of inertia that Paul was mentioning. Oh, by the way, that's just a coincidence. I'm not referring to it all so much because I prepared my slides in the last hour. Just a coincidence. But yeah, so Paul was mentioning this problem of inertia, and that's very true, because these people, people from humanities or life science, they don't want to learn programming. They have to learn programming. And so once they will learn to a language, they will have a huge inertia to learn yet another language. So they will start with Python and say, oh, okay, I know Python. Can I do it in Python? And then we have this huge, tip of the iceberg written in Python, wrapping 7,000 libraries in 50,000 different languages, and yeah, leading to all sorts of problems. So what we want to do, we argue, or at least I argue, that Chapel could and should be used also for teaching basic programming, not only HPC, not only advanced programmers who know the basics of programming and need to learn parallel programming. But for that, we need more resources. So at the moment, there's not, as far as I know, that many resources in teaching basic programming concepts in Chapel. So that's kind of the problem that we are. Oh, I'm very fast. The kind of the problem that we are trying to solve here. And so here enters this Exercism. So I'll show also the website in a while. We will have also a small demo. Exercism is this learning platform developed. I'm not sure when it started, maybe 10 years ago or something like that. And the idea of the platform is to teach people programming languages and teach people basic programming concepts. So teaching to code, basically. Here is the website, and it's free and open source, as all the best things. So everyone can contribute, everyone can add exercises, review model solutions, leave comments, and so on and so on. Yeah. The community is very nice. There's a Discord server, very welcoming. There's a forum similar to our Chapel discourse, pretty much same sort of discourse where people can exchange ideas, leave comments. So very welcoming, very nice community. And maybe one thing which is peculiar of Exercism is that the core value is that people, when they learn programming, they should not be left on their own. So they should always receive some feedback. And the idea of Exercism is that it emphasizes the idea of like peer feedback. So there are people who learn programming languages. So maybe I want to learn a new language, but I'm familiar in another language, and then I can be mentor on that language. So the core idea of Exercism is that people volunteer as mentors and give feedback on students or like participants' solutions. And so it kind of creates kind of a self-sustainable network of people who learn and support each other and help each other, like in supporting each other weaknesses and strengths. So Exercism is like very popular, especially like since it got like new version 3 a few years ago. Has over 50 plus languages, maybe even closer to 70 if I recall correctly. However, there was no Chapel until now. So now we have Chapel. So I started this project 1.5 years ago. When I mean, I was already familiar with Exercism, but I noticed, okay, there's no Chapel. I think there should be Chapel. So I showed up on the repository out of nowhere and said, hey, can we add support? And I started working on it. And maybe at this point, I would like to give like huge shout out to the maintainers of Exercism, which have been very friendly and very like helpful in helping me debug with the infrastructure, with the integration of the language in the app, so that they have been super friendly and wouldn't have been possible without them. Yeah. So now time to have a quick look at what it looks like. Full disclosure, it's not public yet. I can see it because I'm kind of developer of it. It should have been public by now, but I managed to break the Docker image yesterday, so we have a small delay, but it will be public soon. So this is what the track looks like. So we can see at the moment we have 20 plus exercises from very basic ones like Hello World to advanced ones like, or well, more challenging ones as where is first, like writing a fourth compiler or like implementing complex numbers, implementing rational numbers, intermediate ones, and so on and so on. And a lot of them are like those typical like programming exercises that you would find in basic programming classes or like in coding interviews and stuff like that. 20 something exercises, we can have a look at what it looks like. So when I start looking exercise, it looks like this. I have instructions, and then I can start editing in the editor. Now this I had already submitted. Syntax highlight, it will work soon. I have implemented it. It will be supported soon. And then, so the idea is that when students work on the exercise, they work in kind of test-driven design style. So they see the exercise, they see the tests, from where you can see it also syntax highlight works. And then they start looking at tests and reverse engineer what they need to implement, work on the exercise, implement piece of code, submit, get feedback, and so on and so on and so on. And once they're happy, they can submit the exercise, and then they can request feedback, and someone who volunteered as mentor, if there's any, will look at the exercise and leave some feedback, ideally. Yep. So so how is this track implemented? It's actually, so first of all, it's on GitHub, so you can have a look at it by yourself. And also there's nothing like really special. So simply exercise is a Mason application, a Mason library. So each exercise is built with Mason and was super cool to integrate it. When we submitted the exercise, the thing that happens under the hood is that the app simply runs Mason test with dash dash show to have more info. And then it parses the error messages and presents to the students in a more user-friendly or like programming beginner-friendly way. So that's all what happens under the hood. It was reconnecting to the previous question, is Mason working? Yeah, could be improved, but it's getting pretty cool because it allowed to build a whole curriculum almost effortlessly. So very cool for Mason. Now looking a bit into the future, next steps. So as I was showing before, at the moment, okay, first of all, I want to launch the track, of course. Now it just needs to smooth the last corners, but this should ideally happen this summer, probably already this month. The next bigger step to improve the curriculum is that at the moment, as I was showing, the whole curriculum is a bag of exercises. So if we go back here, if we look at the exercises, you can kind of move around and see, pick exercises, see, okay, I want to do easy ones, I want to do medium ones, I want to do hard ones, but there's no structure. So the next step would be to actually develop a curriculum with lessons, materials, explaining the concepts and having associated exercises and track dependencies, like first do this exercise, then do this exercise to learn this concept, this concept, this concept. And ideas that would both touch general programming things like what is an if statement, what is a for loop and stuff like that, but also specific Chapel concepts, like for example, the, I don't know, for all loops or the argument intents, more like Chapel specific concepts. Yeah, so we want to develop this curriculum and yeah, to get to conclusion, if you were interested, if at least my talk sparkled some interest in how to get involved, I claim before showing this slide that there will be something for everyone. So it doesn't matter what's your background, it doesn't matter what you like to do, what you don't like to do. I'm pretty sure that from this list there will be something for everyone. So first of all, if you don't know Chapel, not sure if there's anyone here who doesn't know Chapel, but then you're the most valuable contributor because you can try the track, see if it supports your learning, if you find it helpful, and if you don't find it helpful, feel free to ping me on Gitter or on GitHub at any time and give a feedback, and we can improve the exercises that way. Then if you like to help others, you're a more seasoned Chapel programmer and you like to help others, then you can volunteer as mentor. At the moment, probably the easiest way is you just ping me and I can add you. And then once the track is launched, your mentor, you can check if there are exercises and give feedback to students. Very free, very low threshold. If you like pedagogy, if you like more teaching or thinking how to make complex concepts sound easy or stuff like that, then you're very welcome to help me design the lessons. Think how can we structure in what order to present what are good examples, how to make sure we don't overwhelm students, how to make sure that we don't bore them. So, find the right balance to make the material engaging and support learning. Then maybe you are, and I'm pretty sure there are people here, one of the, super into programming languages and compilers and parsers, then there's something for you too, because one of the next steps would be to implement code analyzer. So for some tracks, for some programming languages, Exercism has a code analyzer, which basically takes the solution and parses that into a normalized intermediate representation of the solution, which then can be used to give more targeted feedback. So once you have intermediate representation of the model solution, you can, and the student solution, you can use that to say, hey, you did this kind of mistake, probably it's because of that, check this, check that. So to give more smarter targeted feedback. Finally, if you are into tooling, automation, Docker images, then you're also very welcome to join. The tooling can be improved to make the experience smooth. Sometimes at the moment the Docker image can be a bit slow, which could lead to timeout issues sometimes. But the code analyzer sounds like use case for Chapel's button binding. So yeah, definitely. I think it could be used. Yeah, we can discuss about it. Yeah. Yeah, and if you're into, I was saying, if you're into Docker tooling, then help like make the Docker image smoother and faster and make sure the integration is smooth in the web app. That's also very welcome. Yeah. So I think the email said to target 15 minutes. It's 14, so I kind of was on time in the end. So thank you to everyone for listening. I hope you liked the talk and got something out of it. And yeah, if you have any questions, comments, feedback, happy to listen and try to answer.
Yeah, I could start us off if anyone else have any questions. Oh, it seems like Brad does, so you can go ahead, Brad.
Are you sure? I don't like to hog the mic.
Okay, I was just gonna ask, have you interact with Jade or Daniel any to see how hard it would be to integrate things like the chapel linter into this, or if that's something that can be done? Because that also seems like it would be useful for new students to kind of get like, hey, this isn't the best way to go about doing this in chapel, even if it does compile.
The direct answer, no, I haven't chatted with them yet. I wasn't sure like who would be the person, but yeah, I think it would be very valuable for sure. And actually, I think there's already an issue in the repository about is there a linter for Chapel, like when we started doing it. So definitely very valuable and definitely would be if, so you said Daniel and Jade, if they're the experts looking forward to chat with you about this. Often do mentors in other languages in Exercism learn a new language to help out. Oh, like I don't know statistics like precisely, but yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I don't have statistics, but I think like people who like Exercism, they both like help in the language they know, and they also like to help other people. So I think people who are into it like do that kind of stuff, and then maybe there's a few people who only like one language and only mentor in one language. Yeah. Sorry, should I read the questions to the chats or take from the audience?
You can or I can, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah, so we do have a question in chat. It says, Chapel has a detailed errors flag to print out additional information about compiler errors. Have you tried it out? It seems like for introductory teaching like Exercism, it would be a good use case for that flag.
Oh, no, I haven't tried it. I will try it. Can you pass that to Mason Test? I think, yeah, you can pass flags to Mason Test at the moment. So if you can do it, would be useful. That would actually be very good for the test runner because so this test runner, which parses the error messages, comes in kind of different levels. At the moment, we were like level 1, which only says, yeah, you did good, you did well, but then just like higher like ambitions of saying like exactly which test failed, which what error message, and present the summary in a more structured way. So maybe these detailed errors could help. I'll try it. Okay.
Yep, and there's a follow-up from Daniel just saying that it's just a regular Chapel flag, so it wouldn't take too much work to adjust the compiler to print out JSON with the error messages. All right, Brad, seems like you're next. Do you have a question?
Yeah, this is really great to see firsthand, Luca, and particularly the demo and things were nice to see. Something I'm realizing is not clear to me, and I may have just missed it. Are the set of exercises there like does Exercism have sort of a suite of exercises that they try to implement in every language, or are you designing these from scratch as new exercises, or is it a combination of the two?
Yeah, so Exercism has like a big, I can show it. So it has like a big like a database of exercises.
Okay.
Let's see if I remember the name. Okay, I don't remember the name of it. Oh, problem specifications here. So it has like this big like database of exercises. I think there are like 200, maybe even something like that. So there's that. I think it's also possible to add like your own exercises, which I think would make sense for like some more advanced like Chapel exercises, like if you go into a more parallelism, like parallel programming concepts. So I think it's also possible to add like your own exercises if you want. But then if you don't want to think of the exercises yourself, there's like huge bank of exercises with all sort of stuff to start with.
Okay, great. Thanks very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
And Engen, it looks like you have a question.
Yeah, this is great, Luca. Do you know if any academic institutions, high school, universities, or anything like that, where Exercism is used for introduction to programming type classes?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. Like when I was like 1.5 year ago, I was like more active, also going to Exercism community calls, and I kind of remember maybe they have on the website something about like partnership with some schools. So like I don't know on the top of my head, but I can double check. But I remember they had something like that at some point at least. I would
Okay.
guess. Yeah.
Okay, thanks.